Well, hi there. Thank you for joining us. If you're already here, I see we've got Ruby Sosa, Don, Green Jedi Monkey. Wally's here. Oh, Wally likes to know about ants. You'll see I have Sheila on cam today. Sheila's my guest. Josh and Scott couldn't make it. They're, they're in the back room drinking bourbon right now. We supply bourbon for our guests now. It's a thing. That's what your Patreon dollars go to, is I ship a bottle of bourbon to our guests. It costs a lot, so if you guys want to start ponying up some more cash, that'd be great. I'm kidding. Nobody's got bourbon. Well, Scott probably does. Oh, good. Beetle Guy Bob with a hashtag, a hash mark. Is that the new thing? A hash mark? Sheila is a pile of ants. I name my colonies. They each have a name because they are, to me, an ant colony is an organism. So, and good luck naming individual ants. But tonight we're going to talk about founding colonies. I feel like it's the most misunderstood and easiest part of the colony to make mistakes that will wipe out your colony because they're tiny. It doesn't take a whole lot. And it's a thing that a lot of people get wrong, including myself. So these are two guys. You've seen them on the show before. You've seen Josh Kristinat of Ants Flagstaff. You've seen Scot Ellacott from Ants Canada. Canadian Ants. He's a Canadian ant keeper, not Ants Canada. No relation to Mikey. Except that I think Mikey got him started as same as me. Jedi Monkey's got bourbon. So we are going to have a good time tonight. We're going to talk about that. There was something I was going to talk about that was in the news, and it's gone. It's out of my head. So you will see Sheila. We're going to pop Sheila out while we're looking at some of the stuff that Scott and Josh are going to talk about tonight. They're going to show us a lot of stuff. Beetle Guy, ants are individual organisms, but that's not how I look at them. I look at them as a colony. So, because that's how they work in my head. So I think my ant experts will agree. So here they come on now. This is one of our rare roundtables. So guys, thanks for coming.
Yes.
NK Ants Alberta. Did you change that? That wasn't on there before.
You did change that because you screwed up.
I know. I like to call you Ants Canada.
I know you do.
I like to make it think like I'm associated with Ants Canada somehow. So
I would love to be.
Right? I would love to get him on as a guest. I would just try to get him singing with me the whole time. He's a very talented musician. So that's legitimate fact. You can look him up on, I think it's Canada's Got Talent or American Idol Canada. He was a second place contestant on one of the seasons of, Mikey. So, and he's in a series right now. He's going to be in a series that's going to air in America. So he just got back to Canada. Yeah.
On Netflix or Amazon or something, yeah.
Yeah, he just got back. He featured it. Well, he talked about it in one of his last videos. Coral's here. Beetle Guy Bob.
Yeah, and just so you know, this is tea, not bourbon.
Okay.
If it was bourbon, it'd be a very anticlimactic catastrophe.
Tea? Oh, well, this is tea. This is tea. I just poured into a Mountain Dew can. Makes me feel more of a man. So, guys, thanks for coming on. I see Josh has more pins on his hat. That's good. He gets one for every ant queen that he catches. So, you may remember that Josh is a budding myrmecologist and Scott is a moose wrestler / ant keeper. So not by choice. You have to be a moose wrestler while you're there. Oh, Jedi's making all kinds of awful puns. So tonight, guys, we're going to talk about founding colonies, and thanks for coming on because I feel like we've been doing kind of a series of getting back to basics. And if there's one thing, I think ants are fascinating. I don't think they're hard to keep. I think they're, when you have a little knowledge, just like with anything else you keep, once you get them started, they're great. But getting them started is that difficult part. And I've lost 6 colonies now to founding going bad. I have 3 pogo colonies, Pogonum myrmex occidentalis, thanks to Josh Kristinat. They are the first ant species that you could just ship over state lines, no questions asked, except for Alaska and Hawaii, right? You can't ship them there.
Correct.
Yeah. Continental United States, even though Alaska's technically on our continent, as far as I know.
Sorry, Canada got in the way there.
Well, Canada shouldn't be a problem. It's like our 48th state. So I feel like I've been working on that joke for like a week since I asked you to come on. So I want to emigrate to Canada as soon as I get more blubber. So I'm almost there. I'm 4 tacos away. So yeah, guys, founding colonies. So before we get into setups, I've asked Josh and Scott to actually do some live demos of setting up. There's test tube colonies. There's a tubes and tubs style. I'm going for that with my pogos are in tubs now. It's just better because they are what's called semi-claustral. So I'm going to do quotes a lot. I don't know why I'm addicted to it right now. The queen will come in and out of the nest to gather seeds for her babies. So they prefer, as far as I know, right, Josh, they prefer a semi-claustral setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do okay in tubes. They'll do fine, but I like to make them as close to natural as possible. Granted, these will not be in a natural setup. Most of them, 2 of them will not be in a natural setup, but they'll have natural elements because, again, Josh says that they do. And Scott, take note, they do really well. They do poorly in fake setups because I was thinking of a Lego thing, and Josh was like, no, don't do that because they tend to die off in those setups. So as close to natural and still being able to view them as possible. Alaska's in Australia. I didn't know that.
That would be awesome.
And Jed, I noticed I did rattle off that name in Latin like it was no big deal. For some reason, ant Latin is kind of natural to me. I don't know why it comes so natural. I blow it off like, oh yeah, I got Campos, blah blah blah, Campo discolor. But like I know 5. I know like 5 ant species in Latin, and that's only because I keep them. So there's test tubes, and then there's tubes and tubs. There's that's it. There's the Tar Heel ants. There are some places that sell founding colony setups. And Josh or Scott, you're going to show us a Tar Heel ants one today, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Okay,
cool. I think Scott even volunteered to transfer a colony from a test tube into a founding setup. Is that right?
Yeah, I can.
You don't have to.
Sure. Actually, I forgot about it, but I can show a setup because I've got one that I can do quickly. I'll just have to find a tube behind.
All right. Well, Josh is going to show us while you look for that. Josh is going to show us.
Oh, look! I got a tube.
Yeah, true ant keeper. It's within reach. Everything's within reach of an ant keeper. I've got a whole tubes and tub set up right over here, ready to go. So Josh is going to show us how you would set up test tubes for your ant colony. Like, say this would be really good. Like, say you're out, and universal, I think, for you're out hunting ants. In my ant hunting pack, when there's flights, I keep tubes in. I have a little shoulder bag thing. It's not a fanny pack. It's a titty.
This
tote.
isn't a fanny pack either.
Mine's a titty tote. It goes
a teddy tote
across the
chest. I just have a backpack.
Yeah, it goes across the chest. So, yes. Sorry.
I think mine is 10 times bigger than all of you.
I bet it is.
Probably. You're a professional. We're just hobbyists.
Yeah, you're a professional. We are the little guys. We're the guppies.
Oh, yeah.
Good Christ. Oh, you got snake
going
holes.
After rattlesnakes, too? Look at that.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. We're going after clogonomyrmex.
We're talking about going after ants.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of feedback?
Rattlesnakes.
Are you guys getting a lot of feedback? I keep hearing my voice.
Yeah.
It's probably because I'm trying to talk over everyone.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably it. I'm real excited for this one. I'm sorry. What about Uncle Milton's ant farm? Oh, he's got tears laughing. Okay. All right, good. Uncle Milton's ant farm is a big fat turd.
Good if you just want to keep a couple ants to watch them dig. Not good for keeping a colony. Probably could use it as an extension, but I wouldn't recommend it. I remember trying to keep ants as a kid with those, and good for workers, as I said.
Yeah.
A Milton's ant farm? Yeah, heck no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said
hard
your
to
little
keep humidity, sand will collapse. Just not ideal at all.
Do you think you could set it up if you set it up with actual substrate, or
it would be just the trouble would be keeping it humid enough without drowning the ants, without getting mold. I always see algae from potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it might be Sheila. Let me pull her out and see.
Sheila's on mute. You should be safe.
I know, but sometimes it catches me and it feeds in through their feed. So see, it's already gone. It's gone because she's gone. So
I think that's what happened the very first time I was on your show when I was showing the honey pots. It was just this giant loud pitch noise.
Yep. And I would just yell at your computer and it would stop. So I don't know why. So let's get into these tubes. Let's show off how you set up tubes, Josh.
Okay, so for basically tubes and stuff, all different types, sizes and things, big to small to, yeah. Now, how you want to set them up is with water, then a cotton ball. The cotton ball is a blow blocker. It basically acts like a very tiny food water filter thing, kind of like a dog bowl, like one of those jug dog bowl things. And then just a piece of cotton to plug up the thing. Nice and simple, since cotton can just go through air. Since air can go through cotton.
He's an ant scientist, not a physicist, guys. Okay. All right.
Words.
It's all right.
But yeah. So how do you actually want to set one of these up, though?
What's important? What would you say is the most important thing about setting this up with the water source?
Honestly, I use either distilled or whatever the heck it's called, or just tap water.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, you've got the jug.
Water.
And I like to just use a syringe because it literally does perfectly the amount that you need. What I like to do is actually... I forgot my tweezers. Hold on.
I need some Febreze. My cat just took a dump over there, and
what I like to do is shove it all the way into the water, and then flick out the excess, and perfect.
Really, that's the first time I've seen that somebody pushes it down into the water. I like that. I like that idea though, because it gets it all saturated.
Yeah, and then
you wanted to
use this to just get off the excess. Then I grab another one. Then it's all set.
So now, how full is that? That's about 2/3 or half.
About half to 2/3 and stuff. For the big ones, they're about half or a little bit less.
Those are the glass ones. I have those. Those are the ones I used when I go out hunting.
Yeah,
I still have the sleeves.
Glass for my personal stuff, and these if I'm gonna just like collect for specimens or other things or sell.
Yeah, I got the littler ones. If you guys want somebody who has some safe packaging, talk to my man Josh here, and he will hook you up if he sends you some pogos. So I've never seen more safe packaging. I rewrapped the box and threw the ants at the wall a couple times. They were fine. They're fine. No, I didn't do that. But it was all bubble wrap, and each test tube was wrapped, and then there was like, fuzz on top of it. I don't know what the fuzz was, but
cotton balls.
Cotton balls. There was just tons of. I saved them actually. I have them in a bag so that I can use them for other setups. So you can't have enough cotton balls if you're keeping ants.
No, you cannot. I think I have like 5 1-pound cotton ball bags in my closet.
A pound of cotton balls. It's for the audience. What weighs more, guys? A pound of cotton balls or a 1-pound bowling ball? Yeah, a 1-pound bowling ball. That's how we do it in America. When are we going to get bullet ants in the hobby? We have them.
I'm working on getting permits for them. So hopefully I can get...
I might know a guy.
I know
a guy. What's weird is if you get into ants, you know people that will ship ship you illegal ants. like them right now. Yeah. I don't condone it. I don't do it. I don't condone it. I do have an illegal colony. Sheila was shipped across state lines. I didn't know the rules back then.
And you didn't know they weren't legal, as far as you
they
told
were at
me.
the time. I didn't know they were illegal to ship across state lines.
Yeah.
They aren't now. You can, if you have a permit, you can ship them across state lines now. A lot of Campo colonies, Campanotis. Americans are just that
as long as you get a permit, you can ship them and bring them across lines and stuff.
Yeah, but I know a couple guys. I was thinking about getting honeypots because I know a guy, because I really want them, and I decided against trying to do whatever I could to get the big leaf cutters, the Atta mexicana, or what's the other Atta species down there?
In Arizona, there isn't one.
No. Down like
Texas.
What's the other Atta species that's down there?
Texana.
Texana.
Atta Texana and Atta Mexicana.
Texana is the bigger one, isn't it?
Mexicana is the bigger one.
That's the monster one. I'm afraid of an escape with those guys because they're savages. So with test tubes, to get back to test tube setups, Scott, do you use different sizes or are you like uniform?
I'll advocate for Ants Canada here and for a minute or two, just because I like using his test tubes because they're pretty diverse, and I can use them to easily connect the tubes via other tubing to another setup. Like I'll show you how I'll sneak peek to transferring from test tube to the Tar Heel Ants Nest, right? Yeah. So Ants Canada makes these lovely little tube adapters, different size ends for different size tubes, and you just monkey it, MacGyver it, so it fits into whatever size port you need. And your test tube just fits right in there. If it's the Ants Canada test tubes, because his are specially designed, obviously. So you have to buy.
And they are like a specific size. You can't get them that size anywhere else. So you need the adapters if you don't have Ants Canada setups. Yeah. If you do have all the setups from them, it all connects together like Lego. It's really cool. And the test tubes don't roll; they have little nubs on them.
Yeah, when I'm just gathering for the first initial catch and founding, I'll just use generic Amazon, whatever size test tube's the cheapest. Honestly, doesn't really matter when you're first starting out. And I'll keep them in this until they get all black and moldy like that, and switch them out. Usually to the Ants Canada tube, because by that point they should have larva, pupa, if not workers, after a few months. And then like I said, Ants Canada, because then you can use that. But we could probably get to this a little later if
that's
you want.
That's a test tube adapter, guys. We'll do a little bit of commercial for Ants Canada. I feel like that's fair. Mikey, if you're listening, and my viewers could get like an 8% discount. I don't know what that translates into in the Philippines. But
I use the glass tubes as well, but they're slightly larger, so good for
they are so big.
Larger species. I mainly have the glass ones for Campanotis that I can hardly ever find, oddly enough. And they're the species that I'll be back in there and keeping. I know. I'm in town, right? So you got to go out later in the evening or early in the morning out into the bush to really get a chance at finding them. But one year there was a huge explosion of Campanotis queens, and I haven't seen one in the last 5 years like I did when I first got back into it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, hoping for this year, knocking on wood.
Coral had a question. So how does one get a permit? Can anyone apply? I think Josh, we talked about this, right?
We talked about it briefly with the pinning insect video. We kind of went off topic there, but
what?
Yeah.
Are you sure that was me? Are you?
Yeah. You're the only podcast that I've been on so far.
That doesn't sound like me. So the other day I was at the grocery store and sorry. You can apply for the permits. You have to get, maybe I was talking to you privately because we talked about it a little in depth.
Maybe.
You have to have a room that's like sealed and has special vents and vent covers and something under the door and for a lot of species. But if you have your room set up right, you said it's not hard to get the permits.
If it is native in the United States, you don't need a big, giant biology room. I don't remember what the room is called, but it's basically a escape-proof ant room, bug room that just is a thing that's literally required. But if it is native in America, in North America, you can apply for permits. It is normally native based, but you can get things from other areas and things. It's a whole mess. It really is. Like, yeah, just a whole mess. But anyone can apply either through Fish and Game or the USDA. The USDA permits are free. The Fish and Game Wildlife is not.
Okay, and it probably varies by species and state and whatever else.
Yes.
And Luke, yes, bullet ants are kept in the hobby. They are difficult to come by. So in America,
basically any ant can be in the hobby. You just gotta find the right people who have them.
And do the right things. Do the right things, everybody. Okay.
Do your research. Yeah.
Do your research. Don't get them illegally. Yeah. All right. Don't do it.
Though.
Don't do it.
The permit is called a PPQ 526 permit.
Okay. That
is the permit that you need. It is a pest control / plant removal / shipping thing. It's literally the thing for all insects and stuff like that. But
okay. I feel like if you're going to get that big biology room, like by all means, you probably already are going to do this, but don't get just ants. Go bananas. If you get that crazy insect room, get whatever the hell you want. Go crazy.
Get everything you can,
and then come on my show. So if you get that room, reach out. I want to talk to you just about that room and get a tour going. And if you send me a plane ticket, I will come out to you and do a live stream from your show.
Hey, Josh, if I sell 100 ants, I'll get you out to Canada.
I will come out to Canada. I will come out to
what?
Josh. Which Josh?
What did you say?
Oh, sorry. Dirt Diggler.
Oh, it's still Dirt Diggler.
I'll bring both, though. We'll go on an adventure together.
I need to change that. I meant to change that. All right.
I was going to say that I would speak to Canadian permits, but I honestly have no clue. I know people that do have permits, and I've been speaking with them and whatnot and making some plans for some species, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about obtaining a permit in Canada, so I'm not going to comment.
It's called, in Canada, I believe I looked it up before we came on. It's the Ants Permit A.
Ants Permit B. I wish it was so easy.
A. That's all the Canadian I know. Yeah. So,
Ants Permit A.
So now when you were just talking about the tube with the so you'll get fungus and they'll put their dirt poops and whatnot probably up against the cotton because there's not a whole lot of other places to put them on the water source. So that top of the cotton gets like black or dark green. And it starts to get gross. I've heard it's not a huge deal.
It's not.
No.
But it gets to where like I worry about it. I'm like, let's switch it out. Do you have tips for switching them?
That's for sure.
Do you have tips from switching them from tube to tube?
Yes, actually. I have a big thing. There's multiple different ways. Some people will have two tubes and connect either tubing or use one of those like Ants Canada portal things. What I do a lot of the time, mainly with ants that it doesn't really stress out much, like poggos and stuff, and like fire ants, is I just pinch them together and just dump them.
Yeah, that's usually what I do too. If they're stubborn, I'll tape them together. But
let's see how she's doing. That poor roach. Oh. This is literally opposite. This location is opposite to her main area. So there's like a satellite nest over here that's a really small population, but you can see there's a good, I don't know, what would Mikey say that is? That's about 25,000 ants right there.
Yeah, that's usually his estimation.
Ants Canada is a bit generous with his estimation. He's not a math major. Just like our Josh is not a physicist, Mikey is not a math major. He's not. He doesn't know calculus. Or the square root of ants. But the dump method.
For every one ant, there's 1,500 more, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think honestly, I think Sheila's at 5,000 now. I think that's a safe bet because there's at least 1,000 in the nest at any given moment out running around. So at least it's like the one side is a wall of ants at any given moment. What are considered the holy grail ants in the hobby? That depends on what you want to do. To me, it's the blue ants. I would love to have the blue ants or those. Have you guys seen those silver ants from the desert?
Yep.
I think they're in Iraq.
Yep.
Is that where they're from? Like,
what are they? Those really fast ones that dig and like there's dirt everywhere, sand everywhere. And they got a zip because it's so hot, and they navigate using the sun over like scents and pheromone trails.
Yeah, they're literally the fastest ant on the planet.
I mean, I only learned about them from one of those kids shows, and then I had to start Googling them. They run a kids show, and she was like, the ant was running, like, oh, I can't find my house, and they had to help her, and because it was getting too hot. Yeah. But yeah, they're silver to reflect the sunlight.
High Tech Ants did a TikTok with those ants recently, within the year, I think.
I really wanted to do a documentary on them. That'd be cool.
Are they by you? Are they by you at all or no? Okay.
They're in Africa, dude.
That's what I thought. Okay, well, no, I said Iraq, but I mean, that's right there, right? Africa and Iraq is same thing. No, I'm not that ignorant, you guys. No, I know it's super hot wherever they are. So they're like sub-Saharan, maybe up there. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
A lot of them can be found in like the middle of the Africa continent.
Okay.
Middle, a little bit down in like South Africa, and I don't know how much is on the top.
Yeah, because the whole top I think is like this arid desert. So
yeah,
like
which is probably where most of them are. But I mean, there's a bunch of different species of silver ants, and not all of them are silver. But
there's just so many adaptations to ants. It drives me crazy. But that's another episode because that could cover 5 or 6 episodes. There's just so many. There's ants that have a door for a head. So it's like there's spiders. Yeah, there's spiders that have a door for a butt. So you never know what nature's going to do. But you would do the same kind of transfer from the tube as you would like the dump or the stick them together or the test tube portal.
Yeah, I'm lazy. I like using the test tube portals, that version, because then they just move at their own time. Test tube drives up. They know there's another tube. Sometimes you'll notice like this one, they just use it as a garbage dump.
Okay.
So you'll have to just change that out frequently, and eventually it'll run dry. As you can see, I'm letting this one run dry.
Okay.
And they'll move out, or they won't. And if they don't move out, then I'll go to the dumping method. Or I'll just get fed up completely and move them into Tar Heel ants. And usually I'll dump them into that as well.
So you have the test tube portal set up right there. Can you show us that a little more in depth? So this is from Ants Canada, you guys. So you can order this online at antscanada.com. So I have 4 of these. Yep.
On either side. So you got 4 ports. Angle of the camera with a removable feeding lid. I just want to drop the ants here. Okay, we're good. So this little pit comes out here. If you got a swarm, I love this for feeding. Once your colony gets above 15, or at least for me, it's a pain. I find to get the tube in there, get them to feed, because usually they're trying to get out, right? So this way, so much easier. So if they're swarming in the chamber here itself, you can just drop the food in through the top. I use inside. That lid comes right off as well. Any kind of feeding dish will work, be it tin foil or these little caps that get off juice cartons and milk cartons.
Okay.
And I put whatever food in there. I use a protein jelly that you can use for beetles. I'm going to try one that I have for crested geckos this year, see how that works for them. Or usually organic fruit is what I'll feed them on top of their crickets and whatnot for protein. But super easy, easier to clean. If that nest gets dirty, you pop the test tube out, swap in a new one, or plug the test tube while you're cleaning it. Obviously, as long as there's no ants in that bit, but the smaller the colony, the less likely that's going to happen. If they're huge, I don't really clean it out. I'll just attach another portal to it, and they'll move around, move back to the nest. But yeah, these are my go-to for foundings, just because it's almost all in one, easy to ship if I do end up selling one. I haven't actually shipped any nests yet or colonies, but usually it's local pickup for me. But if I would recommend investing in these guys because they're super easy. They're not too expensive. It's $10 American for the portal itself, and yeah, affordable at the start. I wouldn't buy his nests right off the bat because they're a little expensive and large. But
I bought his. He has like a setup for founding. It's got like 10 test tubes and 2 test tube portals and all the little crap that you need, the connectors and whatnot. It was like $80, I think. But to be able to do all those setups that easily is great. So yeah, Jedi Monkey likes to eat stuff. So
that's an awesome question.
Hey, there's only one way to find out. Your best chance for that is to fill your honey pots up with your flavor of choice.
Yep.
Then you got a nice big grape to enjoy.
I wonder, like, if you gave one colony like Dr. Pepper and the other colony like pineapple juice, or you know what I mean?
Something tells me their enzymes and whatever they do in there would change it up a little bit, the flavor. But you never know. Might come up with the next Pepsi flavor.
Dude, some kind of like cocktail. Toss them in there like boba, kind of.
There you go.
Whoa! Hey,
Josh, that's something we could do. If one of us ends up getting honeypot colonies, we could do a live tasting.
I have 2
Josh has honeypots.
There you go.
Yeah. I know you can feed the honeypots. You can tint their water or sugar water with food coloring, and they turn.
Yeah, get all different colors.
Color. Yeah, it takes a while, I imagine, but
it's actually extremely quick.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a big liar. Clearly, I don't know. Yeah, Aunt Boba could be the next big thing. I feel like California would be the place to launch that business. Yeah. You can just call it Aunt Boba, and people are like, oh, what's this? Oh, I drank ants the other day. You get a lot of Karens in there, though, so watch yourself. Ozzy Osbourne snorted a line of ants. Sounds right. I don't know if that's
what?
True. That sounds right. I don't know if that's true, but that's like every story about Ozzy.
It's probably true.
It's probably true. So yeah, another thing you're gonna want. So you're gonna want as an ant keeper, you're gonna want test tubes of various sizes. Apparently, you're gonna want.
And you're gonna want lots of them.
Yes, you're gonna want tubing
Lots
of
of
various sizes.
Lots of them.
I have over like 2,000 test tubes.
Jeez.
Yeah, see,
Seems like
expert level down there, hobbyist level up here.
He just keeps stealing them from work. I mean, he works in labs. Like, they've got to have test tubes just
there you go.
by the ton.
Yeah.
And Reed says he did actually snort ants. So, dude, why would you want ants in your lungs? Why would you want ants in your lungs? That seems like a super bad idea.
Yeah.
I've done
breathing in
some
formic acid's not enough. I couldn't imagine the ants too. Dude,
so an aspirator trying to get the discolor. Like, I'm a little bit addicted to it now.
It's a good burn.
It'll make you cough up a lot. It'll make you cough a lot. So, because once they get in that little cup, they start spraying. And what is the colony? I've heard that there's a colony that will get agitated and they'll spray enough formic acid that they all basically die. In a tube setup. Myrmica?
Formica.
Formica, yeah. I've lost colonies to that. Getting them too agitated, moving them into a setup, and they just decided to go crazy, and suddenly I turn around and they're all dead. Just the fumes itself knocked them out.
That's a problem with our plastic setups, is the aeration is not good enough to to help out with that. I feel like that would be a great defense in the wild on the surface. But yeah, in a
not in a little poorly ventilated space. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad because it's not good in your lungs. I can imagine just being in an enclosed space with all that going on. So Formica are crazy with their spray. Okay. Now I'm getting that feedback again. Maybe it wasn't Sheila. So can you show us the Tar Heel ant setup? Because I'm curious about how they actually work. The little founding colony.
We both can.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a ton there too. I got one handy, but it's all good. I can start. So basic nest. It's got a lovely. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, removable glass panel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in one. So you got your foraging area on top with it. Whoops! And I dumped sand all over my computer.
Yes.
I'm still
Don't do this over your computer.
I'm still picking that confetti out of my computer.
Hydration ports. So tubes with mesh on one end that you fill up and block off with a little rubber stopper.
Yep.
I do have water here ready.
This is a rubber stopper. While you set that up, Aftech, you don't need a permit for ants in your yard.
In your yard? No.
Yeah.
Not in your yard, no.
If someone catches you bringing ants in your house from your yard, you were not supposed to have ants in the first place. Or really anything else. Like, if your neighbor is FDA, like, or wherever in Canada, don't do that.
So hydration port, just into any of the holes, really. It doesn't matter. Wherever it works for your display on your shelf. Oops. And try to avoid what I just did in getting water everywhere, but
yeah, try not to
squeeze
the tube when you put it in.
Yeah, I tend to do that. But
yeah,
I heard that part.
Side note though.
From what I heard, if you get a Tar Heel ant set up, you want to practice with it first before you put ants in there.
Yeah.
So what I would say, get to this point, put your ants in, and then fill up this. Where is it there?
There it is.
Water tower there. That's for humidity and moisture in the nest. And he's demonstrating there on the back.
No.
Yeah.
No, don't
humidity for the ants.
Yeah, no, don't fill it all the way to the top. Fill it about like halfway to where you can see it.
Okay.
Let me grab my flashlight.
So that humidity thing is basically a cup with a screen over the top of it, right?
Yeah, it's very fine.
Yeah, it's like a petri dish with a screen.
Okay. See if you can see I got a small colony in there.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
What's in there?
Can't tell the water level in there.
Is that Campos in there?
No, that's Formica.
A little bit too high.
Formica.
A little bit too high.
Shake him up. Let's watch him die. No, I'm kidding.
No thanks. One tragedy is enough for me.
That's crazy.
I dropped one of these nests. It's the queen.
I gotta tone that down, don't I?
There you go.
So you wanna kind of fill it. I don't know how well you can see that, but not all the way to the top.
Yeah. Oh, you can see it.
Yeah, 3/4. Yeah.
Yeah. So right there is what you want.
I like seeing those because they'll put their larvae and their brood on top of it, depending on how much they want them to be moist.
Yeah, I find most will keep their larvae and eggs on the chamber there and then move the pupa away and the larvae away once they're about to pupate. Depends on the species. Like drier conditions, some like more humid. But these kind of give them an option to have both humid and dry areas. And they're all in one. So even the top feeding, super easy to put in the food. Same thing as before. You put the sugar or whatever onto here. Drop your protein source in there. I always put a little line of fluon around the top.
Fluon,
seems to be the barrier that I have the best luck with anyway. Haven't tried the baby powder and all that other just because it gets so foggy and gross on the lid.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, another thing that you can use for giving sugar or just water is these things here.
Yeah, the water towers.
The liquid feeders. They just go right on top there. That's very, very simple things.
I would like that in a setup like this because my ants fill those with dirt.
Yeah.
They've always just filled them with dirt, so I have to get when I get a regular the plaster or whatever, the what is the other plaster that you use with ants when you're setting up your own? It's got a name.
There's 3 things. There was hydrostone, plaster, and the thing that starts with a U.
The thing that starts with a U.
But I don't know. I've tried to make my own with plaster of Paris, and it just did not work out well. I actually lost the colony with it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah,
good example.
There. I just have 2 sizes. I have that tall one and that little tiny one, and so I use the little tiny one for like when I'm testing something out to see if they like it.
Yeah. Right.
F-Tech, yeah, these are founding setups. So this is what you're going to use to start out. If you give them too much space when they're a tiny colony, they might freak out, or you'll just never see them. So you want to give them they like things a little cramped.
Yeah.
Even as an adult
let them
colony.
overcrowd the space before moving them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you give them too much space, you can get mold and mite issues, a lot of different issues, because they'll start storing their waste and
As you can see, there's more giant colonies that I have here.
Yeah.
I literally started them out in either this or just a test tube.
Yeah.
And then I just changed out nests as they grew.
Now, what do you guys use for protein sources when they're in this founding state? Because protein's important to help them grow the larva and give the queen
depends
enough.
on the species. For the majority of them, crickets, cockroaches, kind of whatever insect part or insect that you can find. If it's going to be like poggos, a good way how to found them is with seeds and just leave them be, or you can just give them a semi closural enclosure.
Okay.
What you were talking about? I don't know.
Hey, you got it. All right.
it's one of y'all. Yeah.
Here we go. So how many ants do you put in a tube? So Coral, you're going to start with the queen.
Yeah, so you put one queen inside a tube. You can put multiple depending on species. Some are polygynous and some are not. It just really depends on the species for different multiple queens. Not different, but multiple queens. A lot
for the
of
beginner,
one.
Yeah, I would say even just as a beginner, I wouldn't try mixing multiple queens because even if they're polygynous, they could still compete, especially in that small of a space in an uncontrolled or in a controlled environment. I haven't had any success with multiple queens yet, unfortunately, even with some of the formicas that can be polygynous. Founded. I've done 2 and 3, and once there were workers, the queens always started fighting. So I've always split them up or found them where one's been decapitated already. So as a beginner, it's always safest just to start with a single queen. Catch multiple queens, keep them in separate test tubes, because 8 times out of 10, your queens are going to die with no fault of your own. It's just how it is. If something wrong with the queen, they will just die. So I always tell people, catch as many as you can, because likely or not, you're going to get 1 or 2 that go to just having workers. The rest won't make it. Or they won't produce workers.
Yeah, just don't catch like 100 plus unless you're going to sell.
Yeah, start small. Get used to what you're doing, and then if you have too many, you can try to sell them, or you can just release them back to where you found them.
For a good beginner start, I would say probably about like 10 of each species you find, 10 to 15.
Yeah, as long as you got the resources to have that many, because it is a process to swap out the test tubes, so you always need extra test tubes. You're going to want a couple hundred test tubes just to have, because it can weigh on you really quickly.
I thought I was like overstocked with like 3 dozen, and then I realized the thing is I would be fine. Yeah, I would be fine with 3 dozen if I was more meticulous about cleaning them. So I have a box of dirty ones that I just need to clean out. So Because especially with the sugar water, they get real gross, and the smell of the old sugar water is basically mead. It's not. It's not good at that point.
And on that point, when you do start your queen off, you want to use fresh water, like Josh at Flagstaff was saying at the beginning. Fresh water, either from your tap or distilled water is even better, or filtered water. Don't use sugar water for founding because you'll just harbor mold really fast. And the queen doesn't need anything if she's fully claustral besides that water at the start. And provide
pogos are semi.
Yes. Yeah. And then you can have a test tube outside with sugar water as long as they have access to that fresh water as well.
Yeah.
Actually, with a very quick discovery of a few of hobby ant keepers here in Arizona and myself, a lot of pogos are actually both semi and fully claustral.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very weird. They're like one of the only genuses that are actually to do both.
Wow.
There might be a couple other, I just don't know of them, but pogos are the main one that I know of.
Now, pogos, when I got mine from you, and I had them in the test tubes for about a week and a half, and then I decided to make the tubs, and I mixed sand and plaster, just basic plaster, let that set for a couple days, and then put them in, and then sprinkled a little more sand on there because I know they like to move some around a little bit. Obviously, that's not going to be where they're at forever, but for now, and one of my queens decided to. So Josh sent me these little caps that's like a stopper, and the top of it is like hollow with a little pinhole for air. And yeah, there you go. And so I thought the queen escaped. I thought that everything was gone and she escaped. She had 3 workers and they were all tucked in that cap. So I panicked. That was the first one I opened and I panicked. It was like 3 days after I put them in there. And I freaked out because there was condensation from the plaster. There was condensation in there. So I thought maybe they got up the plastic and got out. Even though it would be super difficult. So, no, they were in that cap, all huddled up. And I was like, you idiots. Look at this. Scott's making more test tubes now. He's like, I need to go catch ants.
Yeah, well, I gotta get her out of there. Yeah. But I'm just doing this while you guys are chatting.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. Gross.
Gross. That black cotton always makes me feel gross.
Yeah, and so being far north, I want to segue kind of into this. I'll find because most posts, especially on the Ant Keeping in North America Facebook page, people will always say, "Oh yeah, it's like 3 weeks for a queen to lay eggs, regardless." 90% of the queens I catch, even with the species, where was I going with that? But anyway, any species, I find they go through their diapods first, so that's hibernation. So like this Formica queen here, I've had her since mid-July, not a single egg. But 1 other one or 2 other ones have 10, 15 workers, all in the same conditions, all caught at the same time. But 90% of them, so I've got 20 or so right now, and most of them are just single queens, no eggs. Just an odd handful actually produced a small amount of workers, like nowhere near what people say you should expect right away. But then once they have those workers, they explode. But they need most of the northern species especially need the hibernation period first. And that's usually I put them November to February. Sorry. She's being not very cooperative and sticking to there. But
of course.
Yeah.
What are you using there? Just a little something to prod her out, or
just my tweezers. I'm just trying to get her angry and letting go of the cotton that she's clinging to.
I told my wife I was going to do a video where I just put my hand into Sheila's tank and just leave it there for a minute and see what happens.
You should.
Dude, she's a savage. All she does is attack me. So
you should.
I don't know what that was. Yeah, it's wild.
Q-tip's probably a safer idea.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do it, but she's not like a fire ant or anything. It's just Campanulus, but the Q-tip.
If it's a single queen, that's usually what I do. I'll just grab them with a Q-tip. I forgot I had some beside me here, so.
Yeah. Yes.
That's why you want cotton balls too, is they're good for
everything's just beside us.
Yeah, ready to go.
Well, because then
and there you have it.
People come prepared.
There you go. That's how you
Nice
switch it
little
out.
test tube swap. Super
Show
easy
that
when
little
it's with
ring.
the queen.
Show that little ring
that?
a little closer at
Oh,
the
the
top
ring.
of the test tube.
Right
So
at the
these are
top
little
here,
nubs.
little knobs.
These are little
Yeah,
nubs that
it'll
Mikey
still-
designed on the outside so it doesn't roll.
Yep.
And I
Yeah,
think
if you
that's
knock it, it'll
genius.
still roll. But just setting it down, because the test tube will tend. Can I have a good example? Probably not.
I think
I'm
it's a
not
lot
set
of
up
stress.
really
At the
down
very
here.
least, it's a lot of stress on the ant to have it rolling around. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, imagine being in your car, sitting still at a red light, all happy and drinking your soda, and suddenly a semi comes and hits you, and your car's rolling down the hill. That's what it feels like
Yeah.
for the ants.
Or it just
and then
happens.
their soda goes everywhere too. Just a bad situation altogether.
Yeah, not great. Not great. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, I think this is definitely the most dangerous part of having an ant is or an ant colony is the founding stage for sure. Once they get settled, it's a matter of just giving them the right food and making sure there's not a tragedy. I don't know what happened to that little spider. I wanted to film that little spider today that was eating my ants, but I don't know. I don't know where it went. But yesterday, last night before I went up, that spider had an ant wrapped up and was, it was a juice box at that point. So, and I was like, oh, let her live. I'll let her stay there. But maybe one of the girls got her. I don't know. Everything's a female apparently in my basement. But yeah, it's just another thing. But I was like really kind of cool to see that. I wanted to see something predate the ants a little bit. I feel like 1 or 2 ants a week is a sacrifice to see for something that cool.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, if that spider was going after the queen, that'd be a problem. But that'd be a problem. I don't want to lose Sheila now. She's the star of my show. Are there any other considerations that you guys think are important for new keepers to know, besides like do your homework and all of that? Like I feel like a lot of people know that.
There is 6+ different ways on how to found a colony.
Yes.
I have 6 things right beside me on how to.
Okay.
Let's
do
one
it.
of them that we haven't entirely covered yet is a tubs and tubes setup here. I'm gonna use my bamboo tube.
Yeah, that's actually one way I haven't done yet is a tub and tube.
Okay.
I've looked at those online. How are they?
They look phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you just put it inside the thing. It doesn't matter where. I made grooves here just so it doesn't roll when I mess with it.
Cool.
But
cool.
You just put them in here. They will come out and forage. You can put sand if you want. It's very, very basic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like these because it's cool to see. You can see all the behaviors and you can see them doing their stuff very, very easily in a tubs and tubes setup.
And if you're going to go dive into the leaf cutter side of the things, you want to found them in things like this. Test tubes. People have been using test tubes recently, but it is a lot more difficult, I will say. I've tried and probably think it was like 75% did not make it when I tried tubes.
Okay.
And then with these, almost 90% actually make it.
Okay.
It's just plaster of repairs. I also have things with high hydrostone and stuff. You can buy things online. One of my friends here down in Mesa, Arizona, has like these square petri dishes. I have several of them, and they work extremely well for leaf cutters. But yeah, you just have them. Open the lid. My lid thing is like a double thing here.
Yeah, you can get these at Walmart for like $1.
Yeah. And when there was fungus inside here with them, you don't want to hit the fungus with the actual water. So what I like to do is just attack it from the edges
Okay. Yeah.
and just spray one side and then just leave it. Let it soak. Put some new fresh leaves and stuff, and you're good.
Good. Yeah, leaf cutters are if you can get them, they're cool. They have the coolest behaviors. But
Yeah.
holy cow.
I have Aquamumix Versicle. That's actually what this table here
Okay.
is. It's only leaf cutters here. Aquamumix Versicle.
And they're a lot less aggressive, is that right? No, it's not right.
No.
I mean, they still attack you like all ants and stuff. But if you want to say less aggressive compared to like Ada, yeah, to an extent. But they do still have like that mass of agility to just override you.
Yeah, for sure.
And escape a lot.
Escape a
I
lot.
saw one over there literally like 2 minutes ago out.
As you have them in an open setup, like everybody that keeps cool leaf cutters.
They're actually not escaping from that one. They're escaping from the one that's over there.
Hilarious.
Which is funny. Another way is if I can take this bamboo tester out. It doesn't really matter what tube you use, but just a tube, an outward. Connect them however you want. You can put food stuff. They come in and out. For setups like this, where you're gonna have the queen forage, really know what species you're dealing with because some don't do that.
Yeah.
Just
and
like
you can end up stressing out if they don't forage. If they're claustral, you'll stress your queen out. She won't produce.
yeah, there is fully claustral and semi. Semi is when they will actually forage. Fully is when they don't forage at all, and they take about like 3 to 8 months, depending on species, to found their first few workers.
Yeah. I heard when you want to get them, and when I got Sheila, she was already at like 15 workers. So, but I heard that you want to wait till they're at about 15 workers to let them into even a small outworld, because at least with Campanota's species, they're almost all claustral. So other than that, it'll get too stressed out and either eat the eggs or not produce, or they just freak out. So the queens just freak out and they're likely to die from the stress.
I would agree with that.
Nice tiny little boxes for founding.
Okay.
This is
Did you make
a
those?
person in DC made these recently for me.
Okay.
They're just starting out. Nice little size, like a few centimeters. This one super small.
Yeah.
Right. But it'd be perfect. This size is perfect if you're gonna found outside of a test tube. If you want to use a net, nothing bigger than this.
That would be for a bigger species too, like medium to large ant, I think.
Yeah, medium to large for this one, and small to tiny for this one.
Yeah.
So Lasius and smaller for here, and then like Formica or even Campanotus would do all right in this.
My little Trichomyrmex were found in that tiny one so well. The little tiny leaf cutters that I had.
You just got to take into account their fungus garden, right, for the leaf cutting species.
The little I had a little Trichomyrmex colony of tiny little Trichomyrmex ants that were leaf cutters. And they were still my favorite. I need to travel to get another colony this year and harvest another colony because they're super timid. They literally will faint and play dead. They'll make a little noise. They'll stridulate like a scream, like when they're alarmed, to tell the other ants to run, basically. they're just the coolest. It's hard for them to climb, so they're kind of easy to keep in something. They're fungus cutters or fungus growers, so that's fascinating to watch. I would definitely recommend tubs and tubes for them because you want to watch that happen instead of I gave them too much too soon and they died, and it's my fault. So, but they're another one. If you get them in the wild, you're probably going to get, like I did. I had, I think, 12 queens in there. That's what I was told. I could not ever tell what a queen was because they're so similar in that species. But in most colonies you'll get, you guys know, is this right that most ant colonies, most ant species, the queen looks markedly different from the workers?
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know the main tiny ones, but even my Lacius, the queens were like 2 to 3 times the size of the workers. So, I think in the pogos for sure, the queen is like twice the size at least of the workers. Do they ever get majors, the Pogonomyrmex?
No, so the only pogos that actually get majors is Pogonomyrmex badius. They are native in Florida and other states that way.
I think I can actually get those here in Canada. A guy has permits.
Yep, same.
I was thinking about it because he can get what are the other harvester ants? What's that other genus?
Genus, there was multiple. There was Novomeso, Meso,
Messer barbarus, I think you can also get.
Messer barbarus is pretty, I think you can, they have a lot more permits than most. They're not super.
Messer barbarus is also not North America.
No, they're not. They're European, right?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, Spain, that area.
Around there, yeah.
I think the harvesters are cool. I'm definitely going to keep at least one of these 3 colonies in.
Messer minor are the ones you can get.
Messer minor. Because I like the idea of the harvester ants where they harvest seeds and to see their little seed piles. And the problem I'm having now, maybe you have advice for the founding of these guys. Now that they're in tubs and tubes, they bring their seeds into the tube and then the seeds germinate. So I'm clearing sprouts every 2 days. And those will rot and get fungus or mold. So I have to get those out of there.
What seeds are you using?
Chia seeds and dandelion seeds.
Chia seeds, if there's too much moisture in the nest, they will germinate, but also Pogonomyrmex will also germinate them on purpose.
Okay. So they want them to be the sprouts?
Yes and no. Sometimes they just happen. Sometimes they do it on purpose. A lot of the ways on how Pogonomyrmex actually get their water is from plants because of the desert.
Okay. So they would get it from the sprouts. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to watch for mold then and take care of it. But the one tube the other day when I was looking at them, I try to do checks like twice a week on them because I'm, watching too much because it's the first time I've had these. So the whole tube was just essentially sprouts. And they were basically out of seeds. So I had to give them some more seeds. Maybe I'll go a little heavier on the dandelion than the chia. But chia came highly recommended from one of the ant forums that I'm on. So
chia, sunflower, the blue Kentucky grass.
Okay.
There's another one that's like, it looks similar to dandelion, but it's more like brighter tan. Something I've seen. I don't know what it's called, but I've seen people use it for meso and stuff.
When I do my gardening for wildflowers this year, I'm going to just buy a packet for a pogo colony and see which one that they go for the most. Because I just get the wildflower blend, and I think that would be cool to see what seeds that they are like, oh, I like this, and then I can just buy those,
Yeah.
Or a mix. I want to give them a variety. So I feel like a variety from my ants, not in founding stages maybe, but I feel like a variety is always a good thing.
I mean, for founding is fine too. I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't stress them out. Things are just new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
New food.
Green Shadow Monkeys reach for his banjo with Kentucky bluegrass. Bluegrass music is so fun. So, what would you say the biggest threats are in your founding stages?
Vibrations, which cause stress. Depending on species, leaving them in a light area. So darkness. Checking up on them. Also heat. Heat can be a big issue on if you heat them or if you not with that you need to know species. With honeypot ants, they don't need heat. The only thing that the heat does with honeypot ants is make them grow faster, like 10,000 times faster than they do without heat. With pogmomics or any hoverstrand, to my knowledge, always have them on heat no matter what. They will not grow without it.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that with all my species too.
Yeah.
Heat them. I keep them in the cupboard behind me in the summer with heat cables during the day. I do a day-night cycle, so it's on a timer. Nice. So I let them drop down to 18 Celsius at night, and then during the day it's upwards of 26. And it just helps speed their growth. But you got to watch so you don't cook your ants. You don't want them getting into the high 30s, especially if they're northern species of ants. Some ants can handle the heat, but you will cook your ants, as I've done it, unfortunately, in the past, having the heat cable right on them. So now it's going to do it ambient, right? So the heating cable heats up the cupboard, but the heat isn't directly on the ants, whether they're in a tube or in one of the nests.
And if you're keeping leaf cutters, do not put them on heat, though they will die instantly. If you're going to keep leaf cutters, you have to have your room at the temp that the fungus needs, which is 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. I think it's like 28 or something.
Yeah, so still fairly warm, but yeah, the ambient heat. A lot of ants do better with the ambient heat, not direct heat, for sure.
Yeah, don't you with your cable by your pogo colony, Josh, you had it like next to them, kind of on the shelf. It was like connected to the shelf like a half a centimeter away or something.
Yeah, I can bring it over. Why not? Let's go for a tour.
And this is a mature colony, guys. This isn't a founding colony.
Yeah, this is a giant colony with over 6,000 workers. They need a new nest.
Yeah.
Right, like yesterday.
Yeah. How old
is
that colony? I
said that to you a month ago.
What?
How old is that colony?
This colony will be 4 years old in July 4th.
Nice.
There you go. So I have a colony of carpenter ants that's turning 5, and I've got maybe 400 workers.
Yeah. It also depends on species for growth.
Yeah. And that's also Canada. I got about 3 months of growth with my Camponotus each year. Or they go into self-diapause.
Yeah.
But I bet that colony will live like 35 years, Scott.
Oh, probably. Yeah, it's probably a lifetime colony for me, which I'm cool with.
For the heat cable, it literally just goes around the magnets here.
Okay.
And then it goes around here, and then it goes off to my other colonies that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And that gives them the option to move around from hot and cold as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't like about the closed up setups is I feel like it's difficult to get a gradient so they can escape, especially when they're in a test tube. Like it's either warm or it's not. You definitely don't want your heat source on the water side of your test tube. You want it on the dry side. So because you don't want to get all that condensation.
Ambient heat is the best. Yeah. Ambient heat for sure with the test tubes.
Yeah. So I had it in a I had them all in a tube, all the tubes in a tub sealed off, but the cable went under that. But there was a piece of like foam board between the setup and the actual cable. And that did real well for me. But and it helped keep just that little ridge helped keep them on that angle where the water was down instead of right in their face. Yeah, but I'm not at your level. But yeah, this is from videos, all from YouTube. or from texting Josh and Scott incessantly for 3 days till they answer all my questions.
He does that a lot.
I do.
Which I'm fine with.
There's a poutine in retaliation.
Yeah. Oh my God,
jokes.
the poutine. The hillbilly poutines that I make compared to these with a sprig of rosemary stabbed in the middle. That's very bougie. It's Canadian bougie. I love Canada. What are these fries missing? Gravy, cheese curds, and beef shank.
Yep.
It makes total sense to me. It sounds awful, but it's so good. So do you think, what was I going to ask? Something about, see, my biggest problem is giving them the, like when there's too many, like you were saying, getting them out of the tube, like tending to them while they're just in a tube gets to be such a hassle. That's another reason you want to get them into some kind of an outworld, because taking the cotton out, they try to escape and maybe you lose one, or I just got real frazzled with taking them out of the tube at a certain point.
For all colonies are different. Some can be extremely docile to the point where they don't move. So you can just food, boom, done. And then some, it's just stay. Stay. So it just really depends on your colony. A lot of people do struggle with that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a necessary thing with that you kind of have to go through, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Each experience will be different, right? So it's up to the person and what kind of ant colony they have, what their resources and finances are like. Like I said, I'll always speak to using these guys just for that reason, right? As soon as they get unmanageable, where you can't feed them without ants getting out, move them into something, be it one of these or similar. You can make it easy.
Like a tubs and tubes setup and stuff.
Tube setup. The tubs and tubes, yeah. It's very versatile. Like you're not stuck to a certain little thing like you are raising snakes or lizards, right? Like you don't need to have a specific this with this kind of lighting and XYZ, right? It's
yeah.
Your options are endless, really.
Yeah.
I want to name a colony Zed now, just because.
Zed.
What?
Zed is a great name.
Zed.
Yeah, I got to meet him. That was his name, right? The bad guy from Power Rangers, Zed.
I have no idea.
The guy that had no skin.
For me, Zed is from a series of books, Sword of Truth. Okay. I don't know if you know that one.
No.
And his name is even better than just Zed.
Okay, I believe you.
Zedicus. It sounds like one of your names, Zedicus Zulzalander. That could be one of your. I'm
changing my name right now. Zedicus Zulzalander. 90% of the names that I use on here are from Bluey, the cartoon Bluey. Sword of Truth. Okay, apparently Coral knows about it. Coral's always
Sword of
recommended
Truth, an amazing series. Not so good on the TV series side. They kind of butchered it in the early mid-90s. There you go. Zedicus Zulzalander.
It's a lot of Z's. I feel like
bags.
That's a lot of Z's. A lot of Zeds. The guy who voiced this character on Power Rangers, I got to meet him at a tiny little comic convention in like a indoor soccer field. And when I walked up to the table, I heard he was there and I was super excited. And he literally, I literally swear to God, thought he was dead. So he's sitting there. He's 85 years old. He's sitting there with his neck bent at a 90-degree angle with his head on his shoulder and just drool. He was totally asleep. He was 100% asleep. There's no one around. It was the saddest thing I ever saw. And so I woke him up. I felt bad waking him up, but at the same time, I was like, he's got nobody. I talked to him for like half an hour. And he kept asking if I wanted him to do the voice. And I was like, no, man, it's good. I know it's you. I just felt bad. I said, I don't want you to be an 85-year-old one-trick pony. Like that. That feels awful. And I have a signed thing from him somewhere that I paid him for, but poor bastard. I literally thought he was dead. I'm like, guys, we need to call somebody because he needs a wellness check right now. See, tangents. Why did you do that to me, Josh? You got me on a tangent. I never do that on the show.
You always do it.
It happens in every conversation that I'm in. That should be the name of the show, actually, is ISO Tangents. Tabray Bathel as Kara. Okay, they're off on a tangent with this show with Triple Z. What about mold? Is mold something you really have a? Is it a major issue with founding colonies and test tubes, or is it just something that kind of like you've really got to be screwing up to get mold, right? You've got to be doing something wrong.
Yeah, the mold that shows up on the cotton itself, I don't worry too much about. But it's when you leave an insect carcass in there and it starts getting fuzzy and getting the mold spores and whatnot. Yeah. That's what you want to avoid. As soon as you got the fungal or the mold spores going, then you want to really move them out. You want to get that food out as soon as you can. So usually after a day, I'll pull anything out. You might get ants everywhere, but I remove anything that's left over in the test tube, especially. In your tubs and tube setup or in another nest setup, it's not as important, but it's still good to keep it clean because then you're just attracting all sorts of issues, right? Not just mold, but you could also get mites.
Mites.
Okay. Luckily, I haven't really had an issue with mites besides like the grain mites that come with some of the feeder insects. Like crickets are notorious for having grain mites, and fruit flies if you buy them from your local pet store. I find that every single fruit fly culture I buy, it doesn't matter where it came from, I'll get infestations of soil mites, and they're all over my cupboard, and it's just a nightmare. Luckily, not into my colonies yet, but they just infest all of my feeder insects, and it's just...
You've got to get some jumping spiders to breed in your basement. I tell you, man, like, I've got a wild America situation going on here.
I've got a false widow nest underneath this one, actually, but... Well, I say nest, but it's a male and it's a web, right? I just saw him the other day.
Okay. A nest is a nest. Male gorillas make nests in the jungle. It's fine.
There you go.
Yeah, I have. Apparently, I had a couple clutches of jumping spiders hatch down here recently. So I probably saw a dozen yesterday, different ones attacking fungus mites. So I don't know what they'll eat when they get a little bigger, but for now, they're doing real well. Beetle guy had kind of an involved question. This is way beyond what we're talking about today, but how do worker ants evolve if the queen is the only one that reproduces? The workers would be the ones subject to selective pressure, but the successful ones couldn't pass their genes.
There's something like, I think Mikey on Ants Canada was talking about that, where it's kind of passed on from the sisters. Like the sisters, I don't know if it's through pheromones or how they do it. Entomologist Josh might have more of an answer on that one. But it's like
what? What's the question?
I think it's in general. I think he's asking really like, how do ants evolve if the queen is the only one that reproduces? The workers would be the ones subject to selective pressure, but the successful ones couldn't pass their genes. Which that's not true, as far as I know. That's not true because the successful colony is the one that passes its genes. So it wouldn't just be the queen herself. It's the whole colony. Like I said, I treat it as an organism. So I treat ants as one organism because that's essentially...
So with that, some ants do breed with other species making hybrids. Yeah.
Yeah, there are hybrid ants out there. Well, that's how they evolved from wasps, right? It's just
okay.
Yeah, and
specific situations.
Yeah, one of the biggest things is do not identify ants by their color. The ants can also have different color morphs depending on elevation.
Okay.
Yeah, my Camponotus here in Alberta, my Camponotus novaboracensis or vicinus will be darker, more brown, more black, with less red than they would, say, farther south.
Yeah.
All because they need to absorb no sunlight to retain the heat from the nest, right?
Yeah. For me, Camponotus vicinus is completely black head, black butt with a nice deep red thorax.
Right.
Okay. My Novarensis by me are like red. They're like a red velvet kind of a color, like a deep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that must be something. So I'm definitely like deep south for you, but Scott. But I still want to get boats and meet in the middle of Lake Michigan, and then get lost and wind up in Michigan itself or something. the Great Lakes would be a great place to meet up. Scott, we could transfer species there. Bring me some moose.
It'd be so much easier, Josh, for you to meet me at the border of Montana, because I would still have to drive a long time to get to any of the Great Lakes.
Who was it that's close to the Great Lakes? I forget. Must be Biggs.
I think that's Biggs. I think
Biggs is coming to
closer
town.
for sure.
Biggs is coming to town. We're going to go to the shed together. I'm going to do some filming there in April. In April, I think Biggs and I are going to meet up and go to the Shed Aquarium by me. World-renowned Shed Aquarium. Coral lives right across from Port Huron. Maybe it's Coral. So I think we've covered our founding colonies. We want to have everything. We covered the gear. Oh, Josh has something.
There was one more thing. This is mainly for the Ponderina subfamily, which is like trapjaws and bull ants and things like that. If you're having trouble founding them, I would suggest founding them in complete soil. That's how I found personally the best luck. There was the bad one to use. I kind of like this for depending on the size of the ant. For the native trapjaws, this will do fine. But for bull ant, oh hell no. But basically what I do is fill it up on one side completely to the top of these or the bottom, not top, the bottom of these holes. They're on both sides here. And I basically make them, but I allow them to create their own chamber out of that soil.
Okay.
To actually just have a better success, because they can not only make it dark, they can control where the sand is and everything.
I feel like a lot of those colonies, a lot of species could benefit from that, but you wouldn't see them. Obviously, you wouldn't see them well at all. But
yeah.
Do you keep the plaster bottom on that even with the dirt?
I normally do, so I don't hydrate the soil, because that can cause collapse and stuff. So I just take one of these holes and just like slowly put the syringe down to the plaster and just.
So you don't just jam it like a psycho. Good luck.
No, I just either do this or the holes, but just like gently do it until you hit the side there.
Sure.
And gently squeeze.
Yeah, and now the plaster
it will soak up.
It'll absorb and hold that moisture for a while. So.
And then, if you have them on heat, which I would highly recommend for those subfamilies /
trapjaws are fascinating.
Talking about. But yeah, so with heat, the moisture will go up into the soil and stuff. So it just works a lot better.
I just want to see how Sheila's doing on that roach. Poor little dude. I grew her up myself. It has to be her that's doing it. I'm going to get her out of here.
What type of roach is that? I can't tell.
It's a dubia.
Okay.
How do I kick her out?
She is out.
No, I mean like kick.
Oh.
I think she was the first one in on my account, so I think she could kick me out. Literally. Oh, God.
Sheila just kicked Josh out. The ants are taking over.
Yeah, that's funny.
They did before I went triple barrier on their ass. Quadruple barrier, actually.
Scott, you're muted.
I'm muted?
No, Scott was.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm think it's
Scott.
Josh.
I'm not muting you. I swear. It's Sheila. It's Sheila. She's jealous. She wants to move to Canada and actually have diapause. I thought she was going into diapause this year, but it was like a week of no activity, and now she's a maniac again. So I don't know what her deal is. It is 52 degrees here today. Celsius. Or no, not Celsius.
Not Celsius. That's roasting, man.
I'd be on fire. So that's baked potato weather right there. No, it's Fahrenheit 52 here. It's amazing. I came out of work literally. It was like this. I'm so dramatic. I just came out of work like, oh my God, it's beautiful. What was I saying? I don't know. These tangents are killing me. I had a point to make. That was an actual point. And I can't remember what it was. So now your colony, your pogos, I've heard that they are like fast growers and they get huge numbers and they can be a massive colony.
Yeah, with Pogmomix Oct and Talos, they can get up to 20K.
The good news is they're small, guys. They're technically a medium-sized ant, but they're small. I'm used to having Camponotus, which are some of the biggest. They're the biggest ants in North America, as far as I know. But these are a third, maybe a quarter the size of my Camponotus workers. How long till you get actual workers from most colonies? Because I know the first ants you get are those nanidiots.
Yeah, that's a good term for them. Nanitics. Yeah, I have colonies that are in their second year and they haven't produced any of their full-size workers. But again, northern colonies are a little slower growing.
Yeah, a lot slower growing.
Yeah. With honeypots, you get full grown wookos till like the second month of having the nanitics born.
Yeah, because nanitics are by far the dumbest individual ants I've ever seen in the hobby so far, and even on videos that people show. Coral Sheila, that Sheila is my colony. Come on, Coral. Show some respect.
Yeah, and Pogmomix species, they won't get full-sized wookos until they're 1 year old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So keep that in mind.
Okay, so I'm going to have little mini pogos for a while.
Yeah, they will be mini and they will just very slowly get bigger.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, as there's more workers to give more protein to the larva, right? Because the reason for the nanitics is because the larvae are living off of the reserves of their queen, right? And she can only feed a certain amount
and stuff.
So much. So as the larvae get more nutrients and are overfed basically by the workers, they grow to their full size.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, and like I said, the nanitics, maybe there's just not enough room in their head for the brain cells they need to function normally, because they are. I mean, honestly, you guys have raised hundreds of colonies with nanitics. Am I lying?
They lack every kind of experiences. Where I was getting with my comment before, where the workers will kind of pass on a knowledge and experience to the next workers. These ones literally start with nothing, and they're going out. They're headstrong. They don't have any survival skill, right? They just charge headfirst into any situation.
Yeah,
and you'll end up losing a handful of your nanidiots right away, just because you open up that cotton and away they go, or I don't know. You have to see it to truly witness it and experience it.
Yeah, and most colonies get like 1 to like 30 nanitics. It really depends on species. Limatopum apiculatum, they will literally get almost 100 nanitics. It's insane.
That's crazy.
How do they survive as a species? Like, because you're talking like a good year of morons.
They grow probably as fast, if not, I wouldn't doubt faster than Solenopsis, which are fire ants.
Okay, that makes sense then.
They live in trees.
Success by numbers.
And live by by trees and stuff. They're one of the ants that can actually get to like millions of workers in a colony for small ants.
Yeah. That's wild. That's wild.
I try to keep them. They got to like 2K. I was feeding them 15 roaches, full-grown Madagascar roaches, every single morning, and around 20 large crickets at night, every day. That's how much protein that species took. It was insane, and I do not recommend getting those unless you actually can afford it.
Good Lord. Like farm. That's absolutely wild. I almost caught one of my last hissers to give to Sheila tonight for the show. That would have been a week's worth of food for her.
Yeah, my Madagascar roaches are in that very back cage right there.
Nice. They are cool. The size of them is kind of wild. Who knew?
Giant roach.
Yeah, that makes a lot of noise at you, and every time they do it, it scares the shit out of me, so I drop them or let go of them. So it totally works. Like, I get the system of why they do it, because I absolutely let go every time. Yep, I'm like, oh God, it's exploding. What's it doing? And I've had them for 2 years now, and every time they do it, I freak out. Every time. My body is like, nope, never mind. I'm sorry.
I'm super excited. Roaches just became legal in Canada recently. Not all of them, but a few of them. Still can't get dubia roaches, but I think some people can get permits for the hissing cockroaches. Like, I have Surinams that I just got a few nymphs last fall, and they're finally reproducing now. So
that's wild.
Way better than crickets, because crickets stink.
Oh yeah,
literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Yeah, crickets are the worst, especially when they start dying off or whatever.
Yeah. I have a giant bin of fetal roaches right there.
Okay,
Nice.
what do we got, like red runners or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Red runners, because they breed fast, they grow fast, 10 times faster than dubias.
Yeah.
And I can just feed my things like nonstop.
Yeah, they don't really climb glass, right? Or the plastic. They're pretty easy to maintain or contain.
Yeah, just with the males, be careful with not having the lid too close to the egg crates, because they can jump and like flutter and like float down. They do have wings, but they can't really fly. Yes.
I just picture this like la 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 roach. Just very delicate, just dainty little roach. Like, don't mind me.
Oh no,
it's not dainty. It's
yeah.
I wish just a nice butterfly down.
Yeah.
But
life. Well, you're about to be ant food in this one. Take it easy. Yeah. Do you guys have any other advice before we go? Like, we're at that mark.
I don't know. It's pretty simple. Just be patient. Don't panic if you're not getting anywhere with them. Catch a handful of queens, like we said. Keep them in the tubes at the beginning. Yeah,
you're gonna lose some. But at the same time, I think they're pretty hardy. Like those 3 colonies that Josh sent me. He's like, I'm sending you 3 because 2 probably won't live. Well, they got lost in the mail for an extra week, and it was below 30 every night that they were in transit. And they finally showed up, and they were fine. I let them warm up casually, and so they're tough. A lot of them are tougher than you give them credit for, but you will lose queens.
If you do have a worker die off, I've had a few. Don't panic. You can usually save your queen. Just make sure you feed her a little more regularly than you would without.
Scott, do you need permits for Pogmomix occidentalis?
If I'm importing them from the States, yes. Even though they are endemic here in Alberta, to get them up from the States, I would still need permits. But I can go if someone were to find them even if I lived in Ontario and I caught them or someone caught them here in Alberta, we can ship them between Canada without permits. But yeah, to bring up something that is even found here in Canada, I would still need a permit.
Okay, so it's the same thing with the U.S. here. Okay.
Yeah.
International trafficking of insects is pretty frowned upon, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you ever get permits for them and you can't find them, hit me up.
Definitely.
I literally catch 100+ every year.
When do you? I know you're way far down south, but when do you go looking for Pogonomyrmex specifically?
So every single year, my hotspot that I have, they fly exactly between 12 and 5 p.m. in July, on July 4th.
July 4th. Okay, for you.
So
probably
in July 4th for you, probably mid-July, probably.
Yeah, into August probably, which I thought.
Yeah.
Because I was reading that they kind of fly with Lasius up here, because Lasius are usually in August.
Yeah, yes,
throughout into September actually. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they're my birthday aunt, my dream aunt, and they'll fly near my birthday.
Yeah, they I've seen I think it was not Ants Canada, but Canada Ants.
Yeah.
It's like flip names.
Yeah.
He has whole shop. He actually still lives in Canada. But
yeah, he's in Toronto where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, and he if I remember correctly, it was him, but he found like a pogo attacking Lasius, like queens attacking each other.
Okay.
Which was interesting, yeah.
Like in competing areas. I've read that the pogos are not very protein hungry, so maybe that was just a territorial dispute.
Well, it's a queen, so it's trying to live.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, if you don't live or fight and live, you're dead, right? So they'll fight off anything that comes close to them. Really, when they're trying.
Well, it's very weird to me because Wooker ants don't entirely have a threat besides, of course, things like eat the pop on them, but it's like a consistent like Wooker. They never end. But with a queen, during nuptial flights, there was birds, frogs, spiders, a bunch of things that will actually eat them. So they got to fight for their lives, and or as quickly as possible dig a founding chamber as fast as they can.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely why they do like thousands of queens and nuptial flights.
Only
are
a
like
handful
clouds.
will survive each flight. Yeah.
I have to find those winter ants again this year. That's my goal, is to find more winter ants queens.
Scott, my Pogonomyrmex occidentalis hotspot has over 200 nests though.
Nice.
That are literally like 100 feet up apart.
That's like a nuclear spot. That's not a hot spot.
That's a gold mine.
200 pogo colonies in one little area. Like, how do you live? Their stings are brutal.
Seeds. A lot of those colonies that I found don't actually fight with each other. They, of course, will fight other colonies that are not the same species. But a lot of the colonies there of pogos will not actually fight each other.
Huh.
They respect their territories.
It's interesting because I've actually taken test tubes of 100 each and put them in the opposite colonies. They accepted every single one as their own.
Would they invade to kill a queen though, or no?
During nuptial flights, yeah, they will kill off their own queens.
I mean, between the the two colonies? Would the workers invade another colony to kill the queen and then absorb those workers, or no? You don't know, probably.
I have no idea. It was a wild experiment, so I can't look inside the nest.
Right. Well, because I'm always thinking of new setups, and I was like, I have these 3 queens. If I get the colonies going, could I make them like so they could interact or no?
Yeah. With
it's probably stupid captivity.
Said, though, I have done a experiment where I had 4 colonies of Pognomomix ocentalis in nests here.
Okay.
And I combined them to see what would happen. One of the colonies actually killed one of the queens and kept one alive. The other one killed off both, and that colony was toast.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was a 50-50 there. To have a better percentage, I'd have to do a lot more tests, but for 2 things, it was like immediately 50-50.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to see my colony.
Well, I did it as a science experiment in my labs and stuff.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have access to hundreds of colonies at any given moment. So
yeah, no loss there. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't want to hook up my 3 colonies and be like, "Good luck, girls." Oh shit, they're all dead.
Yeah, so, I for hobbyists and stuff, I don't recommend doing anything like that. But I mean, I have labs and stuff, and this room is kind of my own lab. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, I think we got a tour of it last episode you were in, and there's some crazy amount of stuff in there. So, well, yeah, guys, thanks for coming on. I think we overwhelmed some people with ant information tonight, which is okay. If you couldn't handle this information, you're not worthy of being an ant keeper. Or you're smarter than us and just want to keep isopods because they're easy.
I'm going to stop you there, Josh, and I definitely find ants easier to keep than isopods.
Wow. And you're only keeping dairy cows, so
I only have dairy cows. Well, I have magic potions now.
I found ants easier to keep than isopods as well.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
I'll keep them over like anything really in my experience so far.
Wow. I mean,
all of my isopod colonies have died off, sadly. I have no idea what I did wrong.
I'll have to send you some information. Look me up. You can find me on Facebook, mostly on Patreon. I'm mostly on there. I get we're down some Patreons, but that's okay. That's okay. I understand. Money's tight. Inflation's rough. I don't know what else I was going to say, but thanks you guys for coming on again. And I really like these roundtables. I want to keep doing them, so I like getting 2 different perspectives and to see that there's a lot in common. Like you both have a lot of information that's
Ruby. Oh, yeah, Ruby.
Ruby Sosa. I think it's Ruby.
Yeah, Ruby. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was you that said that.
I did.
You can contact me or Scott. I'm on Instagram with the same name here. Ants like Zaf. I don't know what he's on.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on IsoBuddies under my own personal.
Look you up.
I'll have to add you as well. But
it's funny how ant people get together so much.
On the business side, as Josh said, Ants Flagstaff. But like I said, I'm more of the hobbyist, and just I help out the locals and get them some ant colonies and advice.
Yeah. I do a lot of local things for the local hobbyists in Arizona. A lot of them are kind of on the same path that I am on, is entomology and working with the universities. But there was a giant handful of hobbyists here in Arizona.
Arizona's jam-packed. So.
Oh, yeah. There was around like 80 plus ant keepers in Arizona, which is insane for how I mean, Arizona's not really that big. I mean,
Isn't
it is, but it's not at the same time.
I think you've got more population than Alberta, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Cheeto's down there, right? Cheeto Lord?
Cheeto, have you had Mason on the podcast yet?
I don't think so. I don't know if I know Mason. So
Mason, Ants AZ.
No. It might be time for an introduction, Josh. What's the story?
Hell yeah. He is going to college for ecology, which is cool for ants.
Maybe something else to talk about with ants.
And a bunch of other things I believe. He knows a lot about beetles too, and a bunch of other things. Cheeto, he's gone to college for entomology. Cool. I will be getting certified soon. I am not in college to actually get a PhD because I can't afford it, but I found a loophole that certifies me in it. So that's what I will be doing.
Good, man. Go for a grant. Try for a grant. An ant grant. Hey. Just tell them you want to get a grant to study and see if ants like Kentucky bluegrass music. And that's got to be worth like $300,000. That's got to be like worth $300,000. Just write up a cool dissertation and proposal, send it to them, and they paid to have somebody get cockroaches. Somebody build a cockroach treadmill, so they could see. And the treadmill they saw if they could run on the treadmill on walls upside down, and then they were in a chamber where they could see how much oxygen the cockroaches were using. Those people got $2 million for a completely useless study. Like, who cares? They found out that like cockroaches running use really no less oxygen on the ceiling, the walls, the floor. It's all the same to them. They don't care. So $2 million, man.
$2 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be expensive to engineer a cockroach treadmill. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough. But I can't imagine it being $2 million. Maybe nowadays for how prices are being up.
No, this is like 30 years ago. It was like 30 years ago. It's in Discovery Magazine.
So that's like 20 million.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. They have less tech then than they did now.
Yep.
So, okay, yeah.
It wasn't even a treadmill. It was 8 nanitics doing this on a crank.
Okay, yeah, I can see like being $2 million for back then.
I think we do need to talk to somebody about beetles, so maybe we'll have your buddy on and talk about beetles.
Oh, yeah, I mean, even Cheeto, he knows a lot about beetles and stuff.
I'll have to reach out again. So Cheeto had one of my best episodes. So with that, his leaf cutters, that was an amazing episode.
Yeah, the leaf cutters were awesome.
Yeah, watching them destroy that bin of leaves in an hour.
Oh yeah!
Mm-hmm. Wow! I think it was 8 pounds. You said 8 pounds of leaves.
Yeah.
Well, with the branches, but still 8 pounds of leaves.
Yeah. 8 pounds.
That counts. Yeah.
Sanity.
Yeah. In his room, that colony's in his room, essentially loose. Mm-hmm. So
have you heard though?
Did they die? That is a tragedy. It had to be something with fungus, right?
He left for vacation and they had a giant collapse. But he is looking on getting more.
I would too. I mean, he's got the setup, so I didn't hear that.
Get some too.
They're so cool, but I'm not set up in any way to even try to get a permit or anything for them.
I will be building 2 more new giant shelving units like the one here.
Okay.
Just specifically for them.
Awesome.
It will go there, and then another giant one will be going literally behind me, next to the leaf cutters here.
Okay.
Just be right here for whatever.
So you need to move back home, Scott, and get your parents like really cool with it. And then you're good to go.
My parents, they're fine with it, but not.
Your dad came through in the background twice like this. No.
Did he?
I saw somebody walk back. I don't know who the large male is that walks around in your house, but somebody walked by twice.
That's my dad. Why are you up here?
He's old, man.
The upstairs is my area.
He's old. He's probably got to go to the bathroom. Actually, he's probably younger than me.
He's 50.
No.
All right.
I got a whole basement that I'm working on here that I'll eventually convert, so I don't need to move back home for space.
I know. I'm teasing you. Yeah, because your guy said he's going to sell the place to you, right? You said?
Hopefully. Yeah, we're hoping.
In order to move all that stuff. I told my wife once I get this ant tank set up, like this is our home for the rest of our lives. So
there you go.
Yeah. So, because that's going to be one of those things that would be a nightmare to move. Absolute nightmare.
Moving animals in general is a nightmare,
It's a
dude.
nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, but moving an ant colony, like a mature ant colony in an open top setup. Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, and then try like moving like 100+ pound tortoises and stuff. That's what I'm gonna probably have to do when I leave.
Do you have tortoises too?
Yeah.
You have sulcata?
I will soon, hopefully.
That's ridiculous. Are you adopting it or whatever?
Hopefully I will be getting a bunch more than just one, but yeah.
That's wild.
I don't know how soon or how.
As rescues, or what are you talking about?
Rescues or from the Hope-the-Logical Sanctuary down in north of Scot, Arizona.
Okay. Yeah, because that's an animal that I don't think should be in the hobby, in the pet trade.
Oh no, it will be in my facility when it's up and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense as a rescue or whatever. That I get it, but like I have a pet store by me that I love that sells them as babies. And
the only tortoises that I would recommend for like actual hobbyists is like a Russian tortoise or like a box turtle, something like that.
Something actually manageable.
Yeah,
that isn't going to walk.
Where can I get in a
Hermes tortoise?
Yeah,
those are manageable too. So it's not. Yeah. It's not a 100-pound tortoise going to live 300 years, and your grandkids just eat it. Like I don't know what you do with it at that point. So, guys, I've had a lot of fun. We were way off the topic of ants. We went to sulcata tortoises real fast because I can't say no. Coral, I have not found my drill. I'm looking for it. I'm not in my regular studio because I'm sick. My leg hurts, and I have a 7-pound log behind my chair that I can't move by myself.
Just keep everything beside you, Josh. Stop moving studio.
Yeah, that way.
Well, I thought it was. I looked everywhere, which is this. I may just buy a new one, and then I'll find it. As soon as I bring that new one home, because I never return anything, I'll find it that minute. Because I need to drill for this wood and everything. I need my drill back quick. And to buff the tank because it's got scratches. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. You've given information to me. I'm still founding these 3 colonies. I'm super nervous about because I want them all to grow.
Of course.
You've got Ruby. Ruby's going to be buying ants, I feel like. So she'll be reaching out to you, Josh. So she seems super excited.
Go to me for buying, but I don't normally sell. The only things that I actually normally sell is like Pogmamix Octantalis, which is a great model, I will say, but don't normally sell. But
hey, she does a lot of like graphic art design. You might be able to work out a trade. Just saying. She does it. She's really good. She's really, really good at it. So yeah, dudes, thank you very much. Yeah. And I mean, I'll definitely be having you both on again. Don't know if it'll be the same time, but we'll definitely have some more talks.
Definitely.
So, and I'll definitely have questions to badger you with or ideas for new setups that are ridiculous because I might be part nanitic. So just run right through the cotton. I'm out. Yeah, I heard your common sense ideas and you're the expert, but I'm going to do this, okay, whatever. And it's going to work because you'll hate it. That's the only reason it works. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much. I love you both.
Of course.
All right, we'll talk to you again.
Us,
anytime, literally anytime.
Of course.
All right, I'm going to peace out.
Find you. Or you find me. That might be easier. I Unless, I mean, is that /you?
Ruby Sosa?
Yeah. Or is that,
She's on.
like,
She's
actually you?
on.
No, not. Oh, I'm talking to Scott.
Oh, Scott.
That MK Ant is me, Scott.
Okay.
I'm on IsoBuddies. Everybody should know me by now as the crazy ant guy. And then NK Ants Alberta is my page.
NK Ants Alberta.
Is that name the thing for your Facebook?
Facebook and Instagram, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll find you.
I can share a link on IsoBuddies too for the IsoBuddies watching. I think I posted from there, but I'm not 100%. Maybe I'll just join as that as well on IsoBuddies. And I know myself twice over on Josh's posts every day.
Nice. Then we'll get another member. All right, join, like, and subscribe on here for that.
Our host Josh, not our Ants Play staff Josh, by the way.
We go by Big Josh and Little Josh. So
Little Josh.
Yeah, capital J, lowercase j. You can do that too. So
there you go.
We go with Z Josh and Alpha Josh.
Nice. Cat's telling me it's time to get off the computer.
Are we gonna get the butthole view? No.
Yeah, right. No, we'll censor that.
He doesn't love us. That's only how cats show love.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. Mine just came into my lap too. Mine just came up like, "Hey, man."
I don't know where mine is.
It's probably chasing your dad around the house. So.
She missed the memo.
Right?
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.
out.
See ya.
Gigalones, if you're still here, 6 of you are still here. That's great. I hope you had a good time. I know we really tiraded out at the end there. I can't say no to conversations. So if you want to talk about getting into ants, let's talk about it. Get your information. There's so many sources out there. Josh and Scott are great sources. There's so many more. I don't know if there's so many in IsoBuddies. If you're looking at the IsoBuddies Facebook page, if you're part of that, just talk about whatever you want. It doesn't have to be iSpods. It's all iSpod adjacent. So we're all buddies, right? Again, we're on Facebook. We're on Patreon. I think I still have a Redbubble store, if that's what it's even called. I think it's Redbubble. I'm going to work on that again a little bit in the future. Special thanks to Wally Kern for our amazing thumbnail that he threw together. So it wasn't the back of a dog poop collection truck. But the Turdminators, I mean, that if you saw that picture, that guy nailed it. So he takes your crap seriously. So, and you can put any emphasis in that sentence you want, and it works. So that's our new sponsor, turdminators.com. I'm going to reach out to them. So we love you guys. Stay strong, stay safe, stay loved. All right. Talk to you later. And I'm just going to